Have you ever ended the day feeling exhausted but realizing you haven't really moved forward? You're not alone. Most people live their lives reacting to distractions, following other people's agendas, and letting small habits control their energy. Imagine if every decision you made, every action you took, and every moment you spent had purpose. Imagine waking up with clarity, knowing exactly where to focus, and feeling in control instead of overwhelmed. Today you're going to learn 10 principles that can completely organize your life. These are not complicated strategies or empty advice. They are simple, practical steps you can start using today to protect your focus, manage your energy, create routines that actually stick, make better decisions, and build momentum in every area of life. By the end of this video, you'll see your day differently, your choices differently, and your life differently. This is your chance to stop drifting and start living with structure, purpose, and results. Chapter 1. Pay attention to what drains you and protect your focus. When you look at your life, what do you notice first? Is it the endless list of tasks, the people who demand your attention, the constant pull of notifications, or the noise that never seems to stop? Most of us go through life reacting to these forces, letting them decide our mood, our energy, and our success. But here's the truth. Your energy is the most valuable resource you have. It is the foundation for everything you do, the fuel behind your actions, and the very thing that determines whether you move forward or stay stuck. And yet, most people give it away freely to things that drain them without even realizing it. Take a moment and think about it. Every time you say yes to someone or something that doesn't serve you, you lose a little of yourself. Every unnecessary argument, every negative interaction, every hour spent scrolling or worrying, it takes a piece of your focus and your strength. And over time, these small leaks create a massive drain on your life. It's invisible at first, but if you don't notice it, it will accumulate until your energy is gone, your motivation disappears, and your life starts to feel chaotic and out of control. Pay attention to your energy. Notice how your body feels when you wake up in the morning. Is there tension, heaviness, or fatigue even before you start your day? Or do you feel a spark, a readiness to take on what lies ahead? These sensations matter. They are signals. Your energy tells you where you are investing your attention and whether those investments are paying off. Learning to recognize these signals is the first step toward organizing your life. When you become aware of what drains you, you can begin to protect your focus and reclaim control over your time, your emotions, and your actions. People often confuse being busy with being productive. They fill their days with activity and mistake motion for progress, but being busy without direction drains energy faster than almost anything else. You can work from dawn to dusk and feel completely exhausted, yet accomplish very little. That exhaustion is a warning sign. It tells you that your focus is scattered, your energy is misdirected, and you are being pulled in too many directions at once. Learning to notice this is critical. Pay attention to what leaves you feeling depleted and start asking yourself why you let it occupy your time in the first place. Your environment has a powerful impact on your energy. Look around your home, your workspace, even your social circles. Are they energizing you or draining you? Are the people you spend the most time with lifting you higher or weighing you down? Are the tasks you spend hours on bringing you closer to the life you want, or are they distractions that fill time but leave no satisfaction? The answers to these questions reveal where your energy is being lost. Protecting your focus begins with removing or reducing the things that drain you. It doesn't mean avoiding responsibility, but it does mean making conscious choices about where you invest yourself. Think about the people you interact with daily. Some bring encouragement, inspiration, and motivation. Others, intentionally or not, bring complaints, negativity, or demands that leave you drained. Being around people who sap your energy doesn't just affect your mood, it affects your decisions, your productivity, and ultimately your success. You cannot fully control other people, but you can control how much time and attention you give them. Protect your focus by setting boundaries. It's not selfish, it's essential. When you shield your energy from unnecessary drains, you create space for the things that truly matter. Distractions are another invisible energy thief. Notifications, social media, emails, unimportant meetings, random errands, all of these fragment your attention. Your brain works best when it is focused. Constant interruptions reduce your ability to think clearly, make decisions, and act decisively. Every interruption takes a little piece of your energy and leaves you more tired than you realize. Paying attention to what drains you includes noticing these distractions and actively managing them. Turn off notifications, close apps that don't serve your goals, and create blocks of time where you can focus fully. Protect your focus like it is the most valuable asset in your life, because it is. Your inner dialogue also consumes energy. Worry, doubt, fear, and negative self-talk are constant drains if you allow them to dominate. Many people don't even notice it. They let their mind run wild, reacting to imagined problems, reliving past mistakes, and projecting into future fears. This internal drain can be more exhausting than any external task. Paying attention to your energy means noticing how your thoughts affect your body, your mood, and your decisions. It means learning to redirect your mind towards solutions, encouragement, and constructive focus, instead of letting it spiral into unproductive worry. Protecting your focus requires discipline over your thoughts, as much as over your environment. Physical energy is just as important. If you are tired, hungry, or out of balance, your ability to focus will be compromised. Sleep, nutrition, and movement are not optional. They are fundamental to maintaining energy. You cannot organize your life if your body cannot support your mind. Pay attention to how your body feels and respond. Protecting your focus isn't just mental, it's physical. Your daily choices about rest, exercise, and food either replenish your energy or drain it further. Make decisions that honor your energy, because without it, nothing else matters. Paying attention to what drains you is not about avoidance. It is about awareness and action. It is about understanding that your energy is finite and precious, and the way you use it determines the quality of your life. When you start noticing the drains, you can start making choices to protect your focus. You begin saying no to things that don't serve you, removing unnecessary tasks from your schedule, setting boundaries with people, and creating habits that conserve your energy for what truly matters. This is how organization begins. Not in a planner, not in a list, but in your understanding of where your energy goes. Once you protect your focus, everything else in life becomes clearer. Your priorities become obvious, your decisions become easier, and your productivity increases naturally. The noise fades because you no longer allow unnecessary distractions to dominate your mind. The people who truly matter receive more of your attention, and the tasks that align with your goals get your best effort. Your days feel lighter, your mind feels sharper, and your life begins to feel organized, not because of a rigid schedule, but because of intentional energy management. Take action by observing your life right now. Notice where you feel drained by the end of the day. Notice the tasks that leave you exhausted without progress. Notice the conversations that sap your energy and the situations that stir frustration or fear. These are signals, not obstacles. They are information. Each drain is an opportunity to protect your focus, make adjustments, and reclaim energy that belongs to you. The more aware you become, the more you can protect yourself from unnecessary depletion and channel your energy toward growth, progress, and fulfillment. Energy is life. Focus is freedom. Protecting your focus is not about avoiding life. It is about engaging with life on your terms. It is about choosing what deserves your attention, your emotion, and your effort. It is about refusing to let external chaos dictate your internal state. Life becomes organized, manageable, and productive the moment you start protecting your focus from what drains you. Every small step toward this awareness compounds. Every boundary set, every distraction removed, Every moment of attention reclaimed strengthens your ability to act intentionally. Your success, your peace of mind, your happiness, everything depends on energy and focus. The ability to pay attention to what drains you and protect your focus is not optional. It is the foundation for everything else you will build, and it starts today. When you commit to noticing these drains, understanding them, and taking action to manage them, you unlock clarity, confidence, and control over your life. Protect your focus like it is your most valuable asset, because it is. Make choices that serve your energy instead of depleting. Say no when necessary. Set boundaries. Remove distractions. Take care of your mind and body. Align your actions with your highest priorities. Over time, these choices become habits, and habits shape the life you live. Organization is not just about schedules. It is about attention, energy, and focus. Pay attention to what drains you. Protect your focus, and watch how your life begins to feel organized, intentional, and full of possibility. Every moment you give your attention, you are making an investment. Invest wisely. Protect your energy. Direct your focus. The life you want depends on it. Chapter 2. Let go of mental noise to act with clarity. Every day, your mind is crowded with thoughts that don't belong there. You wake up with a sense of urgency, a pull to do more, yet the moment you start, you realize your attention is scattered. There are ideas bouncing around that aren't important, worries about things that haven't happened yet, reminders of past mistakes, opinions of people who don't matter, and endless to-dos that pull your energy in every direction. If you don't notice this mental noise, it takes over quietly and makes it impossible to focus. It makes even simple decisions feel heavy and overwhelming. The first step toward organizing your life is learning how to quiet that noise and reclaim your mind. Mental clutter isn't just annoying. It steals your confidence, clouds your judgment, and slows your progress. You might think that thinking constantly or worrying about everything shows responsibility or dedication, but it doesn't. It only slows you down. Every thought that isn't serving you takes a bit of clarity away. Every distraction inside your head leaves you hesitant, reactive, and uncertain. Life doesn't wait for mental clarity. You either act from a foggy, exhausted place, or you take control and create the space to think clearly. One of the most powerful ways to act with clarity is to identify which thoughts truly matter and which ones are just noise. The mind tends to replay problems, repeat fears, and fixate on imagined failures. These thoughts feel urgent, but they rarely are. They are loud, persistent, and convincing, but they do not move your life forward. Mental noise is often emotional noise, disguised as important thinking. It is worry pretending to be preparation. It is guilt pretending to be responsibility. It is doubt pretending to be caution. Recognizing these patterns allows you to step back from them, separate them from reality, and let them go. A clear mind requires intentional focus. This doesn't happen automatically. The human brain is wired to notice threats and problems, which served our survival in the past, but now keeps us stuck. You need to retrain it. You need to observe your thoughts without judgment and ask, does this help me take action? Does this move me closer to my goal? If the answer is no, then it doesn't deserve your attention. Mental noise is addictive because it tricks you into thinking you are being productive when you are only spinning in place. Letting it go is about freeing your energy for the decisions, actions, and ideas that truly matter. Another factor in mental noise is unresolved emotions. Unspoken words, past disappointments, and frustrations carried silently take up mental space without your permission. They keep replaying in your mind, subtly influencing every choice you make. You feel tension, anxiety, or irritability without knowing why. Part of acting with clarity is acknowledging these emotions, understanding them, and then releasing them. Writing them down, speaking about them, or taking deliberate steps to resolve them, can dramatically reduce mental clutter. When your mind is free from unresolved emotions, decision-making becomes simpler and your actions feel lighter and more confident. External inputs also fill your head with unnecessary noise. Social media, constant notifications, endless news and opinions from people who don't understand your goals all compete for your attention. Most of it is irrelevant to the life you are building. Every time you allow these inputs to occupy your mind, you give away focus that should belong to yourself. Protecting your mental clarity means choosing what you let in, actively filtering information, and being selective about conversations, media, and environment. The more you control what enters your mind, the more space you have for meaningful thought and decisive action. A key principle of mental clarity is intentional simplification. Most of us try to do too much at once, think about too many things, and keep dozens of concerns active in our minds simultaneously. This creates a fog that slows every decision and drains every ounce of motivation. Simplicity is liberating. Focus on one task at a time, make one important decision at a time, and dedicate your energy to what actually matters. Reducing mental clutter doesn't make your life smaller, it makes it more powerful. Every step forward becomes clearer, easier, and more confident. The practice of reflection is essential. Each day, take a moment to observe your mental state. Notice which thoughts are repetitive, which worries are unnecessary, and which fears are holding you back. Reflection is not about judgment or self-criticism. It is about awareness. Awareness is the first step toward release. When you identify mental noise, you can replace it with clarity, purpose, and focused action. This practice doesn't take long, but it transforms your ability to act decisively and live intentionally. Discipline is critical in maintaining mental clarity. Letting go of noise isn't a one-time effort, it is a habit. Every day, you need to notice distractions and consciously redirect your attention. Every time a worry or unnecessary thought arises, ask yourself, is this important? Does this serve me now? If it doesn't, release it immediately. Over time, this discipline becomes automatic. Your mind naturally filters noise, prioritizes the essential, and your decisions gain precision and power. Mental clarity is not the absence of thoughts, it is mastery over them. Your environment supports your mental clarity. A cluttered workspace, chaotic home, or noisy surroundings constantly signal your brain to remain scattered. Your environment is a reflection of your mind and vice versa. Clean, organized spaces reduce mental noise. Even small adjustments, like a tidy desk, a quiet room, or a designated place for ideas, can dramatically increase focus and calm. Surround yourself with things that help you think, act, and feel grounded. Protecting your mental clarity includes protecting your physical and sensory environment as well. Clarity also comes from decisions. Indecision fuels mental noise. When choices linger unresolved, they occupy mental space, creating tension and distraction. Take decisive action on things that matter. Decide what you want, set your priorities, and commit to them. Decisions do not have to be perfect, they need to be made. Action brings clarity. Procrastination, overthinking, and hesitation are the breeding grounds of mental clutter. Each decision you make reduces noise, frees energy, and increases your ability to move forward with purpose. Your relationships impact mental noise too. Conversations that are repetitive, critical, or draining clutter your mind without adding value. It is essential to surround yourself with people who support clarity, progress, and action. When your interactions are focused, positive, and purposeful, your mind stays sharper. Avoid the pull of gossip, negativity, and constant debate. Protect your energy and mental space by being intentional with who you spend time with and what you allow into your thoughts through conversation. Meditation, journaling, and mindfulness practices are tools that help maintain clarity. Quieting the mind, writing down thoughts, and observing your own thinking patterns allow you to see clearly which ideas deserve attention and which are simply noise. These practices train your brain to recognize distractions, release unnecessary worry, and focus on meaningful tasks. Mental clarity is like a muscle. It grows stronger the more you exercise it deliberately. Consistency in these practices compounds into a powerful ability to act with precision, confidence, and peace. Mental noise often comes from overestimating the importance of minor events. A disagreement, a mistake, or a small problem can expand in your mind until it overshadows priorities. Perspective is key. Ask yourself, will this matter next week, next month, or next year? If not, it is noise. Let it go. The power to act with clarity comes from directing attention toward what truly matters, not what temporarily demands it. Every thought you release adds mental space for the actions that shape your future. Rest is another factor. A tired mind is a noisy mind. Sleep, breaks, and periods of inactivity allow the brain to reset, process, and filter information naturally. Without rest, even small distractions feel overwhelming. Protecting mental clarity means respecting your need for downtime. It is not laziness, it is preparation. Your mind cannot function at its best without adequate recovery. By honoring rest, you clear the mental fog and improve your ability to act decisively and with confidence. Every day, you have the opportunity to practice clarity. You can notice the thoughts that pull you off course, the habits that fill your mind with noise, and the patterns that distract you from meaningful action. You can remove unnecessary obligations, control inputs, resolve lingering emotions, and focus on one thing at a time. By doing so, you reclaim your power. Mental clarity is not a rare gift, it is a choice and a skill that anyone can develop. Each day you practice it, you strengthen your ability to make clear decisions, take purposeful actions, and feel calm in the midst of chaos. Acting with clarity transforms life. When your mind is free of noise, every action becomes easier. Decisions come faster. Confidence grows. Productivity increases. Relationships improve because you are present, attentive, and focused. Problems that once felt overwhelming shrink because your attention is no longer scattered. Opportunities become obvious because your vision is clear. Mental clarity is the foundation for a life of organization, focus, and fulfillment. Your clarity is your responsibility. No one else can quiet your mind for you. Every moment you spend reacting to unnecessary thoughts is a moment wasted. Every moment you allow mental noise to control your actions is energy lost. The people who achieve remarkable results are not necessarily smarter or faster. They are clearer. They have trained their minds to act with precision, focus, and intention. You can do the same. You can let go of what doesn't serve you, protect your focus, and direct your energy to the things that truly matter. Each decision to release mental noise compound. Each time you stop ruminating on the past, stop worrying about the future, and stop letting irrelevant thoughts dominate your mind, you gain more energy for what matters. Life begins to feel manageable. Priorities become obvious. Tasks that once felt overwhelming become achievable. Your mind becomes your ally instead of your enemy. By letting go of mental noise, you create space for clarity, action, and growth. Your mind is your most valuable tool. Protect it. Feed it with focus, intention, and meaningful thought. Clear out what is unnecessary. Guard your attention like it is precious. Mental clarity is not just about thinking. It is about living intentionally, making decisions confidently, and acting decisively. When you practice letting go of mental noise, you gain more than focus. You gain freedom,
calm, and the ability to build the life you want with purpose and direction. The life you desire is on the other side of mental clarity. Take responsibility for what occupies your mind. Recognize distractions. Let go of worries, doubts, and unimportant thoughts. Make space for focus, decision-making, and action. This is the foundation for organization, productivity, and success. Mental clarity transforms confusion into confidence, chaos into order, and hesitation into decisive movement.
Chapter 3. Take small actions that slowly create massive life change. Most people think big change requires big leaps. They imagine a sudden breakthrough, a single dramatic decision, or an overnight transformation. They wait for the perfect moment, the ideal opportunity, or a massive inspiration to strike. But that's not how life works. Real change is almost never explosive. It is the result of countless small actions, repeated consistently over time. Each small choice, each small effort, and each small decision compounds quietly, often unnoticed, until one day you look back and see a life transformed. Small actions feel insignificant at first. You water a plant every day, and for weeks, nothing happens. You study for 10 minutes a day, and it seems too little to matter. You save a small portion of your income, and the growth appears painfully slow. This is why most people quit. They look for immediate results and fail to recognize that the power lies in repetition, in consistency, and in persistence. Massive life change does not start with a miracle, it starts with one small action. When you take a small action, you create momentum. Momentum is invisible at first, subtle, almost imperceptible. It is the accumulation of tiny efforts that eventually becomes unstoppable. Each step forward builds confidence, sharpens skills, and strengthens belief in yourself. Momentum is not dramatic, it is quiet, but it is powerful. The person who understands this principle knows that success is not about occasional brilliance. It is about steady daily effort, applied consistently to the right things. Consistency is more important than intensity. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You don't need to quit everything or take extreme measures to see change. What matters is that you do something every day that moves you forward. It could be reading 5 pages of a book, writing a short note toward a goal, making one phone call, or exercising for 10 minutes. These small actions are the building blocks of massive results. They shape your habits, your mindset, and your trajectory. The key to harnessing small actions is understanding their cumulative power. Imagine each small effort as a drop of water. One drop seems trivial, 100 drops may seem minor. But over time, those drops carve a canyon, fill a reservoir, and create unstoppable force. Your life works the same way. Every small step builds on the last, compounding into results you cannot always see immediately, but which transform your reality over months and years. Discipline is what sustains small actions. Motivation alone is unreliable because it fluctuates. Some days you feel inspired, other days you feel tired, distracted, or discouraged. Discipline keeps you moving, even when motivation is absent. It allows you to take the next small step, even when it feels insignificant. Discipline is the bridge between intention and result. Without it, small actions remain sporadic, inconsistent, and ineffective. With it, they become unstoppable. Patience is equally essential. The human mind craves instant results. It wants proof of progress immediately, and when it doesn't see it, it doubts, panics, or abandons the effort. Massive change requires time. Growth is silent. Transformation is gradual. If you persist, even when nothing seems to happen, you are building a foundation that no one can see at first. Trust the process. Believe that each small action is a seed planted in fertile soil, waiting to sprout and grow into something extraordinary. Focus is crucial when taking small actions. Random, scattered efforts rarely accumulate into meaningful change. Every small action must align with your goals, your values, and your vision for life. Mindless busyness produces motion, not progress. Deliberate, focused effort, repeated consistently, produces momentum, skill, and transformation. When you choose small actions carefully, you ensure that each step brings you closer to the life you want, rather than diverting your energy into distractions or minor tasks that don't matter. Small actions teach you lessons. Every tiny step you take reveals something about your strengths, weaknesses, and resilience. You learn what works and what doesn't. You discover patterns in your behavior and adjust accordingly. Massive change does not come from guesswork. It comes from observation, learning, and adaptation. Each small action provides feedback that allows you to refine your approach, sharpen your skills, and make better decisions. In this way, even the smallest effort has value beyond its immediate result. Accountability magnifies the impact of small action. When you commit to a small step publicly, to a friend, mentor, or even in writing, you increase the likelihood of follow-through. The human mind responds to responsibility. Taking small actions consistently becomes easier when someone else is aware, because it taps into your natural desire to honor your word. Accountability transforms intention into action, and action into habit. Habits are the vessels that carry small efforts toward massive life change. The power of small actions also lies in their ability to overcome fear. Fear often paralyzes us because we imagine taking one giant step and failing. But small steps are manageable. They are within reach. They are less intimidating. Each small action you take chips away at fear, builds courage, and reinforces belief in your ability to act. Over time, small actions train your mind to approach challenges with confidence instead of hesitation, because you have proven to yourself that you are capable of movement, no matter how small. Momentum from small actions influences your environment. People notice your effort, your consistency, and your reliability. Opportunities begin to appear because action attracts attention. Your small steps create ripple effects. When you act, even in tiny ways, you signal to yourself and to the world that you are committed to growth. Consistency breeds trust in yourself, in others, and in the process of life. Massive change is rarely isolated. It grows from the networks, habits, and momentum that small actions build. Small actions also protect against regret. Most people look back on life wishing they had started sooner, done more, or tried harder. Massive regrets rarely come from failure. They come from inaction. Doing something, even a tiny thing, every day creates a record of effort. It builds pride, confidence, and experience. It teaches you that progress is possible, that life is shaped by decisions, and that transformation belongs to those who act. Small actions ensure you are always moving forward, rather than standing still. Small actions compound exponentially. One small decision leads to another. One consistent effort opens doors for new opportunities. One habit forms the basis for another. Growth feeds growth. The life you envision is not created by sudden leaps, but by steady accumulation of effort. Each action reinforces the next, and before long, what once seemed impossible becomes reality. Consistency is invisible at first, but its effects are unstoppable over time. Small actions create clarity. When you act in small, deliberate ways, you begin to see cause and effect more clearly. You understand which efforts yield results and which do not. This clarity allows you to adjust course, prioritize effectively, and make better decisions in the future.
Acting without clarity produces wasted energy. Acting in small, deliberate ways produce understanding, insight, and progress. The path forward becomes visible because each step illuminates the next. Small actions teach resilience. Life will challenge you. Setbacks are inevitable. Plans go awry. People disappoint you. By taking consistent, small actions, you train yourself to persist despite obstacles. You learn that success is not about avoiding problems. It is about continuing to move forward when challenges arise. Each small action, taken in the face of difficulty, builds confidence, patience, and perseverance. Massive change is impossible without resilience, and resilience is strengthened by the small, steady efforts you take every day. Small actions improve confidence. Confidence is not a feeling that appears spontaneously. It is built through repeated success. Each time you take a small action and see it through, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. That belief compounds over time. Confidence grows quietly, steadily, and inevitably. The person who takes small, deliberate steps every day is the person who faces bigger challenges later with courage, composure, and certainty. Small actions shape identity. Every choice you make, no matter how minor, signals to yourself who you are and what you value. Are you someone who acts consistently, or someone who procrastinates? Are you someone who follows through, or someone who abandons efforts when they feel hard? Identity is formed through repetition. Massive change is the result of intentionally choosing actions that reinforce the person you want to become. Small steps are the bricks that build character, skill, and life. Even the smallest actions create momentum toward goal. Reading a page, walking a block, writing a paragraph, making a call. Each is a building block. Taken alone, they seem trivial. Taken consistently, they accumulate into skills, confidence, networks, and opportunities. The life you dream of is created by these small, invisible efforts. Ignoring them because they feel small is the biggest mistake people make. Small actions are not small, they are the engine of transformation. Time magnifies small actions. A week of consistent effort produces more than a day. A month produces more than a week. A year produces more than a month. Compound your efforts, and the results are astonishing. People underestimate the power of persistence because they focus only on immediate outcomes. Massive life change is rarely immediate. It is built slowly, carefully, and relentlessly through small, intelligent actions, repeated day after day, week after week, year after year. Taking small actions also makes success sustainable. Big, sudden efforts can burn you out, create stress, and lead to failure. Small, steady actions fit naturally into life. They build habits, confidence, and resilience without overwhelming you. Sustainable progress is far more powerful than temporary intensity. It ensures that the life you are building lasts, grows, and continues to compound over time.
Chapter 4. Stop saying yes to everything to protect your time. Time is the one resource you can never get back. Every moment you spend is gone forever, and yet most people give it away without thinking. They say yes to requests they don't want to fulfill, agree to meetings they don't need to attend, and take on responsibilities that pull them away from their own priorities. They fill their schedules with obligations to everyone else, leaving themselves exhausted, stressed, and overwhelmed. Saying yes too often is not generosity. It is a silent theft of your energy, focus, and opportunity. Protecting your time is the foundation for a life that is organized, meaningful, and productive. Most people feel guilty when they say no. They worry about disappointing others, creating conflict, or being judged. But consider this: when you say yes to everything, Who benefits? Usually, everyone except you. Your work suffers, your goals stall, your energy disappears. Your time, the most precious asset you have, is consumed by things that don't move your life forward. The truth is, saying no is not selfish, it is necessary. It is how you take control of your life, prioritize what matters, and honor your own growth. Time is limited. Every yes to one thing is a no to another. When you agree to everything, you unintentionally sacrifice what truly matters to you. Your personal goals, health, learning, and growth require protected time. You cannot invest in these areas if your schedule is filled with everyone else's demands. Each yes carries a hidden cost. It takes away the minutes you could spend on focused action, reflection, or pursuing your dreams. Being selective with your commitments is not just smart, it is essential to building a life of achievement and satisfaction. Your time is connected to your energy. When you say yes to things that do not serve your purpose, you exhaust yourself mentally and emotionally. You may feel busy, but busy does not equal progress. It only creates stress, distraction, and fatigue. Protecting your time preserves your energy. It allows you to think clearly, act decisively, and focus on what is meaningful. Each choice to say no is a choice to invest in yourself, your goals, and your future. Setting boundaries is key. Boundaries are the invisible walls that safeguard your schedule and protect your priority. Without boundaries, you become available to everyone else, leaving nothing for yourself. Boundaries are not about excluding people, they are about clarity, respect, and focus. When you clearly define what you will and will not accept, others understand your limits, and your time is preserved. Boundaries give you space to pursue goals, rest, and nurture relationships that matter most. Decision-making about time requires awareness. Observe how often you say yes out of habit, obligation, or fear of conflict. Notice which yes decisions bring value and which drain your energy. Many people agree to things without considering the consequences. They react instead of choosing intentionally. Each day presents countless opportunities to practice saying no. Each no is an investment in your own priorities, your productivity, and your sense of control. The more intentional you are with your time, the more organized and effective your life becomes. Time management is not just about schedules, it is about choices. You can have a calendar packed with tasks, but if those tasks are not aligned with your goals, it does not matter. Saying no allows you to say yes to what truly counts. It creates space for focused work, meaningful relationships, personal growth, and rest. Without intentional no's, your life becomes a reaction to everyone else's agenda instead of a reflection of your own priority. Protecting your time is the foundation of intentional living. Social pressure often keeps people from saying no. Friends, family, and colleagues may expect you to comply. They may push, guilt, or persuade. But protecting your time is not about pleasing others. It is about preserving your ability to live effectively. When you prioritize your schedule and commit to your goals, you gain respect for yourself. Others may initially resist, but in time, they understand that your no is a reflection of your commitment, not a rejection of them. Saying no also improves focus. Every yes you give to an unnecessary task fragments attention, reduces energy, and slows progress. When your schedule is crowded with non-essential tasks, your mind becomes scattered, important decisions are delayed, creativity suffers, and your ability to act decisively is compromised. Saying no is like clearing a path for your focus. It creates space in your mind and your calendar for work that produces results, action that matters, and progress that transforms your life. Many people fail to realize that time is a reflection of values. How you spend each hour shows what you prioritize. Saying yes to everything suggests that you value others' priorities over your own. Saying no when done thoughtfully aligns your actions with what you truly care about. Every decision to protect your time reinforces your priorities, strengthens your sense of purpose, and shapes your identity. When you consistently choose what matters most, you become a person whose actions reflect intention, not obligation. Time protection is closely tied to goal achievement. Goals require focus, energy, and dedicated effort. If you do not guard your schedule, your goals remain aspirational. Saying yes to every request, distraction, or minor obligation delays your progress and diminishes your capacity for meaningful work. Each no is a step toward your vision. It is a commitment to invest your attention in the activities that produce results, rather than reacting to the noise and demands around you. The art of saying no takes practice. It requires courage, clarity, and self-respect. You may feel uncomfortable at first, and some people may resist your choices. That is natural. Growth always challenges comfort, but each time you assert your boundaries, you reinforce the value of your time and build confidence. Saying no becomes easier, more natural, and increasingly effective in protecting your focus. Over time, it creates a rhythm in your life that prioritizes what matters, conserves energy, and amplifies results. Saying no also enhances relationships. When you try to do everything for everyone, you often fail to deliver your best. Energy is spread thin, and commitments are fulfilled poorly or inconsistently. By being selective, you can dedicate full attention and effort to relationships, projects, and responsibilities that matter most. People notice quality over quantity. Protecting your time allows you to contribute meaningfully, not superficially. It strengthens trust, respect, and connection. Time is finite, and procrastination is a silent enemy. Saying yes indiscriminately leads to rushed, half-hearted efforts and constant overwhelm. When your schedule is crowded, tasks pile up, and stress rises. Protecting your time by saying no ensures that each commitment receives the attention it deserves. It allows deliberate action, measured progress, and high-quality results. Your life becomes a series of focused, intentional steps, rather than chaotic reactions. Every no is a declaration of self-respect. It communicates that your life, your energy, and your goals matter. It signals that you are serious about your priorities, and that you are willing to make choices that support your growth. People who understand this principle do not wait for permission. They take responsibility for their time. They understand that opportunity, progress, and success cannot exist in a life that is controlled by everyone else's demands. Time protection also reduces stress. When you constantly say yes, you create a mental load that weighs on every decision. Deadlines collide, tasks overlap, and obligations accumulate. Mental pressure grows, stress increases. By practicing selective yes, you lighten your load, clear your mind, and regain emotional balance. You create breathing room to think, reflect, and act with clarity. Every no is a small act of self-preservation that compounds into lasting peace and focus. Productivity multiplies when unnecessary yes are eliminated. By focusing only on what truly matters, energy is concentrated on meaningful work. Your output increases, your impact grows, and your results accelerate. Every small yes to a non-essential task diminishes potential, while every no amplifies it. Protecting your time is not about doing less. It is about doing what counts more effectively, consistently, and intentionally. Your schedule becomes your most valuable tool when you learn to say no. Time blocked for priorities, goals, and rest produces tangible results. Decisions become easier, focus improves, and life begins to feel organized. Saying no creates structure, not restriction. It allows you to invest fully in what matters most, build momentum toward long-term goals, and live intentionally instead of reactively.
Saying no also cultivates self-discipline. It requires thought, self-awareness, and assertiveness. Every time you decline a request that does not serve your purpose, you strengthen your ability to make intentional choices. Discipline over your time translates into discipline in other areas of life, your finances, health, relationships, and personal growth. Protecting your time is a foundational act of self-mastery. Time management and saying no go hand in hand. Each moment is an investment. Every commitment, task, or obligation is a decision about where you put your attention. Saying yes to everything spreads resources too thin and diminishes returns. Saying no selectively directs energy to what produces the most value. Protecting time is choosing wisely, thinking strategically, and acting deliberate. Life becomes organized, productive, and meaningful when these choices are made consistently. Your legacy is shaped by how you protect your time. Each day is composed of decisions that accumulate into habits, results, and achievements. Saying yes indiscriminately allows external demands to dictate your legacy. Saying no ensures your life reflects your intentions, values, and vision. The most successful, fulfilled people understand that every minute counts. They guard it carefully, invest it wisely, and refuse to let the trivial control their days.
Chapter 5. Track your habits to understand yourself and grow consistently. Your life is shaped by what you do every day, more than by what you think or dream about. Every choice, every action, and every decision forms a pattern, whether you notice it or not. These patterns are your habits. Some push you forward, some hold you back, and most operate without conscious thought. The problem is, most people never pay attention to them. They live as if their actions are random, reacting to circumstances rather than directing them. Yet, the truth is that habits are the building blocks of your life. To grow, to improve, and to achieve your goals, you must first understand your habits. You cannot improve what you do not track. Tracking your habits is about awareness. Many people think they are disciplined, but until they see their actions on paper, they cannot know for sure. Writing down what you do, when you do it, and how often it happens, paints a mirror. A mirror shows the truth without judgment. It reveals patterns that you might otherwise overlook. Small actions repeated daily either create progress or accumulate problems. Seeing these patterns clearly allows you to make conscious choices about which habits to nurture and which to change. Habits shape identity. The things you repeat consistently define who you are. Are you someone who exercises, reads, learns, and plans, or someone who procrastinates, complains, and reacts to circumstances? Your identity is being written by the habits you practice every day. Tracking habits makes this visible. It shows you where your time, energy, and focus are going. When you understand your habits, you understand yourself, and when you understand yourself, you can grow deliberately. Every habit has a trigger, a routine, and a reward. This pattern is powerful because it operates automatically once established. Many people are unaware of these loops and allow them to control their behavior. By tracking habits, you bring them into consciousness. You can see what triggers certain actions, recognize the rewards you seek, and adjust the routine accordingly. Awareness allows you to change habits intentionally, rather than being a slave to unconscious behavior. Change is impossible without observation, and observation starts with tracking. Tracking habits also highlights consistency. One day of effort is admirable, but insufficient. Growth happens through repeated action over time. Recording habits provides visual evidence of your consistency or inconsistency. It holds you accountable. It shows whether you are progressing toward your goals or simply moving in circles. Without tracking, it is easy to fool yourself into thinking you are doing more than you are. Awareness is the first step toward responsibility, and responsibility is the foundation of personal growth. Small changes are magnified by habit tracking. Often, people underestimate how little adjustments can accumulate into massive results. Skipping one small unhealthy behavior, adding 5 minutes of focused learning, or writing a short note toward a goal seems trivial at first. But when tracked daily, these small efforts compound into visible transformation. Each record acts as proof of action, reinforcing positive behavior and encouraging continuation. The power of compounding works not only in finances, but in personal growth, and habit tracking reveals it clearly. Tracking habits also uncovers hidden patterns that affect your life. Some habits are obvious, like exercise, work, or study. Others are subtle, like checking your phone frequently, interrupting deep work, or eating without noticing. Many people do not realize how much time and energy is consumed by small unconscious behaviors. Recording habits illuminates these patterns. When you see the full picture, you can decide which actions serve your goals and which deplete your energy. This clarity is empowering because it transforms hidden chaos into visible opportunity. Reflection is an essential part of habit tracking. Observing your actions is not enough. You must analyze, evaluate, and adjust. Ask yourself, which habits are helping me grow, which are holding me back, and what changes will create better outcomes. Reflection allows you to correct course before habits become ingrained and harder to change. The most successful people review their behaviors regularly, refining and improving them, while most others continue blindly, unaware of the slow drift caused by unproductive routines. Tracking habits strengthens self-discipline. When you see your actions daily, you cannot ignore them. Visual feedback creates accountability. You begin to notice patterns of avoidance, procrastination, and distraction. Each time you record an action, you reinforce your awareness, which strengthens control. Discipline grows from observation and repetition. It does not appear spontaneously. Every entry in your habit tracker is a small act of self-mastery, reinforcing your ability to direct your actions, manage impulses, and maintain focus on what truly matters. Tracking also increases motivation. Results are motivating, but progress is invisible if it is not measured. Seeing streaks, improvements, and milestones recorded builds confidence and reinforces commitment. When progress is documented, effort feels worthwhile. Motivation feeds on evidence. Without tracking, it is easy to dismiss your efforts, underestimate your growth, or feel that nothing is changing. Recording your habits provides tangible proof that your small, consistent actions are producing measurable results. Understanding your habits helps you optimize your schedule. Many people struggle with time management, not because they lack discipline, but because they are unaware of how they actually spend their hours. Habit tracking reveals where time is wasted, which activities are productive, and which routines are inefficient. When you see the truth of your day laid out, you can make informed choices about what to prioritize, what to adjust, and what to eliminate. This clarity transforms chaos into structure and inefficiency into productivity. Habit tracking improves decision-making. Once you understand your behaviors, you can make better choices about what actions to take, when to act, and how to respond to challenges. You stop guessing about what works and what does not. You base your choices on evidence rather than assumption. This leads to smarter actions, less wasted effort, and faster growth. Tracking habits converts intuition into informed decisions, which is how progress accelerates over time. Tracking habits also reveals emotional patterns. Certain behaviors are often linked to moods, stress levels, or emotional triggers. By recording when and why certain actions occur, you begin to see how emotions influence your behavior. This insight allows you to make adjustments. You can replace unproductive emotional responses
with constructive actions. You can predict when your energy or motivation may dip and plan accordingly. Self-awareness grows through habit tracking, giving you control over both behavior and emotion. Tracking habits encourages celebration of progress. Too often, people focus on what they have not done, ignoring what they have accomplished. When actions are recorded, progress becomes visible. Each checkmark, note or record entry is a reminder of effort and growth. Recognizing small wins reinforces behavior, builds confidence, and fuels continued action. Momentum is created not just by action, but by awareness of the progress that action produces. Habit tracking makes every step forward tangible and rewarding. Small habits tracked consistently compound into skill, knowledge, and personal transformation. Reading a few pages daily becomes expertise over time. Exercise repeated consistently shapes the body. Focused work adds to experience and capability. The results are invisible at first, but undeniable over months and years. Tracking habits ensures that you do not miss these compounding effects. You see the accumulation of effort, which strengthens belief in yourself and reinforces continued dedication. Habit tracking also reduces self-deception. Many people believe they are working hard, improving, or moving forward, but without tracking, these are assumptions. Actions can be misremembered, overstated, or forgotten. Recording habits provides a clear, objective record. It shows what is real versus what is imagined. This truth is liberating. Growth depends on seeing reality accurately, making adjustments, and committing to consistent action. Habit tracking is the tool that provides this clarity. Tracking habits cultivates long-term vision. Immediate gratification tempts many to focus only on short-term outcomes, ignoring the low accumulation of small efforts. When habits are tracked, it becomes obvious that small, consistent actions today determine results tomorrow. You begin to think in terms of weeks, months, and years rather than hours or days. Long-term thinking replaces impulsive reactions. Your life begins to shift from random events to intentional progress. Habit tracking builds resilience. Change is rarely easy. Old habits resist replacement. Challenges arise. Motivation falters. When you track your progress, you can see that setbacks are temporary. Patterns of consistency become evident. You see that even small repeated actions accumulate despite difficulty. This awareness strengthens perseverance, patience, and confidence in your ability to continue growing. Tracking habits transforms small efforts into an unstoppable force over time. Tracking habits also provides insight into strengths and weaknesses. You discover which behaviors come naturally and which require effort. You learn how to leverage strength to achieve goals and how to address weaknesses systematically. Personal growth becomes intentional rather than accidental. When you know your patterns, you can make strategic decisions, allocate effort effectively, and focus on the areas with the highest return on investment for your life.
Chapter 6. Decide today to stop blaming and start building. Too many people go through life looking for someone or something to blame. They blame their circumstances, their upbringing, their colleagues, their boss, or the economy. They blame the world for their lack of progress, their failures, and their frustrations. This habit is comfortable because it shifts responsibility away from them. It is easier to complain than to act. It is easier to criticize than to create. But every moment spent blaming is a moment lost from building. Every complaint consumes energy, focus, and time resources that are essential for growth. Deciding to stop blaming is the first step toward taking control of your life and building the future you desire. Blame creates a sense of helplessness. When you focus on who is responsible for your struggles, you give away your power. You feel small, limited, and dependent on conditions you cannot control. Life becomes a series of obstacles rather than a field of opportunities. By blaming, you allow external forces to dictate your emotional state and your actions. To grow, you must recognize that no one else has the ability to build your life, only you do. Only your choices, your actions, and your decisions matter. Building starts with mindset. It begins when you shift from victimhood to responsibility. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I do about this right now?" Instead of focusing on unfair treatment or past failures, focus on the actions you can take today. Growth happens in the present moment. The past is information, not instruction. You cannot build a new life by replaying old mistakes. You can only build by acting now, with the resources, knowledge, and energy you possess today. Accountability is the bridge between blaming and building. People who achieve extraordinary results do not waste energy looking for fault. They acknowledge their part in every outcome, good or bad, and ask what they can do to improve. Taking responsibility does not mean dwelling in guilt or shame. It means being honest with yourself, evaluating your actions, and taking deliberate steps forward. When you accept responsibility, you reclaim your power, and the act of building begins. Blame corrodes relationship. When you constantly point fingers, you alienate those around you. Trust erodes. Cooperation fades. Opportunities diminish because people avoid the negative energy that blame creates. Conversely, when you focus on building rather than blaming, you attract support, collaboration, and goodwill. People want to work with those who create solutions instead of complaining about problems. Choosing to stop blaming improves not only your internal state, but also your external environment. Building requires action. Thoughts alone cannot create results. Dreams alone cannot construct a life of purpose. Ideas without execution are wasted energy. Every day you spend assigning blame is a day lost from building. Progress comes from consistent, intentional action. It comes from identifying what can be done today, taking steps, evaluating results, and adjusting. The act of building is cumulative. Small efforts repeated daily lead to growth, opportunities, and results. The person who acts wins, while the person who blames remains stuck. Fear often drives blame. People point to external causes because they are afraid to confront their own role in creating change. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and fear of effort make blaming more appealing than action. But fear is a liar. It paralyzes. It keeps you trapped in excuses and delays progress. By deciding to stop blaming, you confront fear directly. You acknowledge that mistakes will happen, challenges will arise, and effort will be required, but that is the path to building something meaningful. Courage replaces fear when responsibility replaces blame. Blame fosters negative thinking. The more you focus on what went wrong, the more problems seem insurmountable. Energy is consumed imagining worst-case scenarios, replaying injustices, and dwelling on unfairness. By shifting focus to building, your mind begins to see possibilities instead of obstacles. Solutions become visible. Opportunities emerge. Energy is redirected toward creating instead of complaining. The more you act, the less space there is for blame. Growth thrives in clarity and forward motion, not in resentment or excuse. Small steps matter more than perfect plans. Often, people wait to have all conditions favorable before building. They blame lack of experience, resources, or knowledge, but massive change begins with small, deliberate actions. A single effort to learn, create, or contribute is more valuable than endless rumination on why life is unfair. Each small step produces momentum. Each small action builds skill, confidence, and result. Over time, small actions compound into massive transformation. Building is not an event, it is a process, one intentional action at a time. Reflection is essential. Evaluating your actions allows you to learn, adapt and grow. Blame clouds judgment, but reflection brings insight. After every effort, assess what worked, what didn't, and what you can do differently next time. Reflection without judgment, combined with deliberate action, accelerates building. It creates a feedback loop where each step forward is informed, intentional, and more effective than the last. Progress is rarely linear, but it is predictable when guided by honest reflection and consistent action. Building requires vision. You must know what you want to create. Without a clear sense of purpose, energy is scattered, and blame fills the void. A vision provides direction and focus. It allows you to measure progress and recognize which actions contribute to growth. When you know what you want to build, blame loses its power, because you are actively working towards something tangible. Energy shifts from complaining about circumstances to creating solutions that move you closer to your vision. Patience is part of the process. Building takes time, effort, and persistence. You will encounter setbacks, obstacles, and delay. It is easy to fall back into blaming, especially when results are slow or effort seems futile. But every moment spent creating, learning, and improving is an investment. Even small progress compounds into significant results over months and years. Deciding to stop blaming is a commitment to patience and consistent effort, recognizing that real change is built gradually, not instantly. Focus is critical. Blame distracts. It keeps attention on external factors rather than internal power. Building demands attention on actions within your control. Concentrate on tasks that move you forward, skills that improve your capabilities, and habits that strengthen your character. The person who directs energy toward building sees results. The person who directs energy toward blame remains frustrated, stagnant, and dissatisfied. Energy is finite. Use it to create, not complain. Accountability to yourself ensures progress. Commit to building, track your actions, and evaluate results. Without accountability, it is easy to revert to old habits of blame. Keep a record of what you are creating, learning, and accomplishing. Measure small wins, acknowledge improvements, and adjust strategies when necessary. Accountability provides clarity, reinforces responsibility, and prevents the drift back into complaining. The discipline of keeping track amplifies growth and ensures that effort produces tangible outcomes. Blame limits creativity. When you focus on why something is unfair or why obstacles exist, your mind becomes trapped in problems rather than solutions. Shifting to building redirects mental energy toward innovation, strategy, and action. You begin to see possibilities that were hidden behind complaint. Each problem becomes an opportunity to experiment, improve, and grow. The habit of creating solutions replaces the habit of blaming, transforming frustration into productivity and limitation into possibility. Building strengthens confidence. Every action you take toward improvement reinforces your belief in your abilities. Blame erodes confidence because it shifts focus to factors outside your control. By creating, learning, and contributing, you gain proof that you are capable. Confidence grows quietly, step by step, as results accumulate. Each successful action, no matter how small, is evidence that you can overcome challenges and build the life you want. Focus on what you can control. People often blame external forces for situations over which they have influence. Control exists within your actions, your choices, and your mindset. You cannot control everything, but you can always control how you respond. By acting on what is within your control, you maximize impact, minimize frustration,
and create result. Blame disappears when you recognize the limits of external influence and the power of internal agency. Building requires resilience. Challenges are inevitable, but repeated effort strengthens character, skill, and confidence. Blame provides temporary relief from responsibility, but does not solve problems. Each step taken despite difficulty reinforces perseverance and determination. Life rewards those who persist, adapt, and create rather than those who linger in complaint. Building becomes a habit when resilience is cultivated, and every effort, success, and failure adds to strength. Time is the ultimate currency. Every hour spent blaming is an hour not spent building. Every moment you dwell on past mistakes, others' actions, or external conditions is energy wasted. Time invested in action, skill development, and contribution produces exponential returns. To create a meaningful life, every decision must prioritize building over blaming. Awareness of time's value strengthens commitment and reinforces the urgency of responsible action. Deciding to stop blaming is liberating. Once you shift focus from fault to solution, life feels lighter. Energy is redirected toward creation, growth, and improvement. Relationships improve because you contribute constructively. Opportunities multiply because you are focused and proactive. Self-respect grows because you honor your potential. Life becomes intentional instead of reactive. Freedom emerges as you realize your power to influence results lies within your actions, not in assigning blame. Building requires continuous effort. There is no finish line, no permanent state of security. Every day presents choices. You can focus on excuses, obstacles, and fault, or you can act with intention, responsibility, and purpose. The accumulation of small, deliberate actions compounds into skills, opportunities, and achievement. By deciding to stop blaming today, you start a chain of behavior that grows stronger with every effort, every decision, and every contribution. Transformation begins when you act rather than complain.
Chapter 7. Break the cycle that keeps you stuck again. Many people live in cycles without even realizing it. They wake up, go through the motions, and end each day feeling frustrated that nothing has changed. Problems repeat, mistakes recur, opportunities slip by, and old patterns keep holding them back. This is a cycle, and it can be invisible because it has become normal. Life may feel like it is moving, but it is only spinning in place. Breaking that cycle requires awareness, courage, and deliberate action. It requires deciding that today will be different, that you will no longer accept the same patterns as inevitable. Change starts with the choice to interrupt what has always been and redirect your energy toward progress. The first step in breaking a cycle is to recognize it. Most people continue repeating the same behaviors because they are unconscious of their patterns. They complain about circumstances, blame others, or feel powerless without understanding that their own actions are largely responsible for the outcomes they experience. Observation is critical. Take a moment to reflect on where you feel stuck. Which habits, thoughts, or decisions keep producing the same results? Write them down, examine them honestly, and acknowledge their impact. Awareness is not judgment, it is clarity. Until you see the cycle, you cannot break it. Understanding the triggers is the next step. Every cycle has a starting point, often a trigger that sets the pattern in motion. It may be a situation, a belief, or even a specific emotion. When you identify the trigger, you gain insight into why you respond the way you do. Without this understanding, the cycle repeats without interruption. Recognizing triggers allows you to respond differently. You can plan alternative actions, redirect energy, and make intentional choices that prevent the old pattern from taking control. This is how transformation begins, by seeing cause and effect clearly. Breaking cycles also requires taking responsibility for your role. It is easy to blame circumstances or other people for repeating failures, but that mindset ensures stagnation. Real change happens when you acknowledge the part you play in keeping yourself stuck. Responsibility does not mean self-criticism, it means honesty. It means evaluating past decisions, identifying where actions or inactions have contributed to repeated outcomes, and committing to act differently moving forward. The moment you accept responsibility is the moment you regain control. Small, deliberate actions are powerful tools for breaking cycles. Massive change often begins with tiny, consistent steps. You do not need to overhaul your life overnight. Start by replacing one unproductive behavior with a constructive one. Take a short action that moves you away from the old cycle. Each small change interrupts repetition and signals to your mind that something different is possible. These small interventions create momentum, and momentum breaks inertia. Over time, incremental adjustments compound into transformation, leaving the old cycle behind. Patterns are reinforced by repetition, which means breaking them requires consistent effort. A single act of change is rarely enough. You must repeat alternative actions until they replace the old habits. Consistency builds new neural pathways, reshapes behavior, and establishes new expectations for yourself. Your mind learns what is possible through repetition. Every step toward change strengthens your ability to act differently the next time the old trigger rises. Persistence is essential because cycles only break when the new behavior becomes automatic and the old one fades. Breaking cycles also requires courage to face discomfort. Old patterns often feel familiar, even if they produce negative outcomes. Change feels uncomfortable because it disrupts routine, challenges beliefs, and forces you to confront uncertainty. Many people return to what is familiar, even if it harms them, because comfort feels safer than the unknown. True growth requires stepping into discomfort, experimenting with new actions, and embracing uncertainty as part of the process. Courage is not absence of fear, it is acting despite it. The more you practice this, the easier cycles are to break. Mindset plays a central role. A fixed mindset reinforces cycles, suggesting that you are trapped by circumstances, personality, or history. A growth mindset recognizes that patterns can change, skills can develop, and outcomes can improve. By believing that change is possible, you empower yourself to act differently. The mind becomes a tool for progress rather than a cage. Adopting a mindset of learning, experimentation, and responsibility allows cycles to be interrupted because you focus on solutions instead of repeating excuses. Emotional awareness strengthens the process. Cycles are often tied to unresolved emotions. Anger, fear, sadness, or frustration can trigger automatic behaviors that repeat patterns. When you identify emotional triggers, you gain control over response. You can pause, evaluate, and choose actions aligned with your goals rather than default reactions. Emotional self-awareness allows deliberate action, prevents regression, and reinforces new positive patterns. The mind and emotions work together. Change is only sustainable when both are engaged consciously. Support systems matter. Breaking cycles in isolation is challenging because old habits and influences can reinforce repetition. Surround yourself with people who encourage growth, hold you accountable, and model constructive behavior. Engage mentors, friends, or communities that challenge you to act differently. Influence is subtle but powerful. The people around you can either reinforce the cycle or support your transformation. Being intentional about your environment is part of breaking old patterns and creating new productive routines. Tracking progress ensures cycles do not resume unnoticed. Awareness must be ongoing.
It is easy to feel improvement while slipping back into old habits. Keep a record of actions, behaviors and results. Celebrate successes and analyze setbacks. Use data to make informed adjustments. Without tracking, old cycles can quietly re-establish themselves, disguised as minor lapses. Visibility is strength. Monitoring your actions allows you to catch patterns early and intervene before repetition becomes entrenched. Breaking cycles also involves letting go of attachment to past identity. Many people remain stuck because they define themselves by old failures, mistakes, or limitations. "I am always unlucky," "I never succeed," or "this is just who I am," are common mental traps that perpetuate cycles. Change requires releasing these labels and adopting a new self-concept. See yourself as capable, adaptive, and evolving. Belief in your potential transforms behavior, making new choices natural rather than forced. Identity shapes action, and action breaks cycles. Planning is essential. Without a deliberate plan, old patterns tend to reassert themselves. Identify the behaviors that keep you stuck, define alternative actions, and schedule time to practice them. Treat building new patterns like a project, complete with milestones, review periods, and adjustments. A plan prevents drift, provides clarity, and ensures progress. Cycles weaken when they are met with deliberate, organized effort. Structure amplifies change because it removes reliance on chance, luck, or fleeting motivation. Resilience is necessary. Breaking cycles is not smooth. Setbacks, resistance, and failures are inevitable. Expect them and view them as opportunities to learn rather than proof that change is impossible. Persistence in the face of difficulty reinforces new behavior and weakens the hold of old patterns. Every challenge overcome strengthens the ability to maintain progress. Cycles break permanently when resilience outlasts resistance, and repeated effort gradually replaces old behaviors with constructive routines. Intentional repetition builds new habits. The more often you practice alternative behaviors, the more automatic they become. Repetition rewires your mind and body to respond differently. You begin to notice triggers, pause automatically, and choose new actions without conscious struggle. What was once difficult becomes natural. Old cycles weaken because they no longer serve as default responses. The new pattern takes root, supported by consistent practice and reinforcement. Self-reflection reinforces change. Regularly evaluating your thoughts, emotions, and actions provides insight into what works and what needs adjustment. Reflection allows you to correct course, refine strategies, and ensure that new behaviors align with long-term goals. Without reflection, cycles can return unnoticed. By examining your actions honestly, you maintain clarity, control, and commitment. Awareness plus action equals transformation. Breaking cycles strengthens confidence and self-efficacy. Each time you act differently, resist the old pattern, and succeed, you prove to yourself that change is possible. Confidence grows quietly, but powerfully, making future cycles easier to disrupt. Your belief in your ability to influence outcomes increases. You move from passivity to agency, from frustration to empowerment. Each break in the cycle is evidence of your capacity to control your life and create the results you desire. Cycles often persist due to fear of change. People cling to familiar routines, even destructive ones, because the unknown feels unsafe. Breaking a cycle means accepting discomfort, uncertainty, and risk. Yet, the reward of growth, freedom, and accomplishment outweighs the temporary discomfort. Every action taken in the direction of change weakens fear, builds courage, and reinforces that progress is achievable. Fear loses power when confronted repeatedly with deliberate action. The final component is persistence. Breaking cycles is not a single event, it is a process. Continuous effort, vigilance, and commitment are required. Old patterns will test you. You will face moments of doubt. You will feel the pull of familiar behaviors. Success lies in resisting that pull, acting intentionally, and maintaining focus on your goals. Over time, persistence transforms effort into habit, habits into character, and character into results. The cycle of stagnation is replaced by the cycle of growth.
Chapter 8. Create simple routines that guide you without constant effort. Life can feel chaotic when every decision requires effort, thought, and constant energy. Most people spend hours deciding what to do next, when to act, or how to start. This constant friction drains focus and limits progress. The brain, when overloaded with repeated decision-making, tires quickly, motivation drops, and consistency suffers. That is why creating simple routines is essential. Routines are not restrictions, they are frameworks that guide behavior automatically. They free your mind from unnecessary choices, conserve energy, and allow focus on what truly matters. By designing routines that work naturally, life becomes more organized, productive, and fulfilling. A routine is a sequence of actions performed regularly. Simple routines are powerful because they reduce friction. The more straightforward a routine, the easier it is to maintain. Complexity breeds failure because it requires constant thought, energy, and willpower. Simple routines remove the question of what comes next and replace it with consistent behavior. This consistency creates results over time, turning effort into habit and habit into progress. Each small action, repeated daily, compounds, building a life of organization and achievement. The first step in creating routines is clarity. Identify the outcomes you want in different areas of life: health, work, relationships, learning, and personal growth. Without a clear destination, routines get meaningless. They need a purpose, a direction. Clarity ensures that the actions you automate lead to tangible results. Start with one area and focus on establishing a routine that aligns with your goals. Each routine should have a specific objective so that every repetition contributes to growth. Simplicity is essential. Many people fail at routines because they overcomplicate them. They set unrealistic expectations, include too many steps, or require too much effort to execute consistently. The goal is to design routines so simple that they become automatic. For example, if your goal is to improve health, start with 10 minutes of movement each morning rather than an hour at the gym. If your goal is learning, read 5 pages daily instead of committing to 100. Simplicity ensures adherence, consistency, and sustainable growth. Routines reduce mental load. Every day, your mind has a finite amount of energy. Each decision you make consumes part of that energy. When routines handle repetitive tasks, your cognitive resources are preserved for higher value decisions and creative work. Simple routines automate beneficial behaviors, making them effortless. Over time, they shape your habits, structure your day, and protect your energy for important challenges. Life feels smoother, less stressful, and more manageable when routines guide you rather than constant improvisation. Routines also cultivate discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood as force or resistance. True discipline is the ability to act consistently, even when motivation is low. Routines build discipline naturally because the actions are automatic. You no longer rely on fleeting willpower to make choices. The structure created by a routine ensures progress, regardless of mood, energy, or circumstance. Over time, this consistency becomes a powerful engine for growth, allowing you to accomplish more with less mental struggle. Timing matters when designing routines. Anchoring actions to specific moments creates predictability. For example, exercising first thing in the morning, reviewing goals before lunch, or journaling at night ties routines to natural daily rhythm. Predictable timing makes it easier to perform actions automatically, reducing friction and resistance. When habits are anchored in time, they become reliable and life gains structure. Over time, this structure supports productivity, focus, and a sense of control. Flexibility is often overlooked, but equally important. While routines provide structure, life is unpredictable. Unexpected tasks, events, and interruptions occur. A routine that is too rigid can create stress or failure when deviations arise. Instead, design routines that are simple, repeatable, and adaptable. Flexibility allows continuity without frustration. It ensures that the routine serves your life rather than your life serving the routine. A well-designed routine provides guidance, not constraint, enabling action without constant decision-making. Habit stacking enhances routines. Linking a new behavior to an existing habit makes execution effortless. For instance, after brushing your teeth, meditate for 2 minutes. After making coffee, review your daily goals. By connecting actions to familiar patterns, routines become seamless. The brain recognizes the trigger and executes the next step automatically. Habit stacking reduces the need for motivation and ensures that routines are sustained over time. Small connections build cumulative progress that can transform multiple areas of life simultaneously. Accountability strengthens routine adherence. Even simple routines can be neglected without awareness. Track your progress, mark completion, and reflect on consistency. Sharing your routine with a friend, mentor, or partner adds reinforcement. Accountability creates visibility, motivation, and commitment. Each day you complete the routine reinforces identity. I am someone who acts consistently, follows through, and builds my life intentionally. This reinforcement makes routines sticky, increasing the likelihood of sustained action and long-term results. Routines create momentum. Life feels easier when certain behaviors are automatic. Each completed routine generates small wins that reinforce action. Momentum is not a result of motivation, it is a product of repeated, consistent behavior. The more routines you establish, the more momentum grows, and the less effort is required to act. Momentum becomes a self-reinforcing cycle, reducing resistance, improving energy, and ensuring that progress continues steadily. Emotional energy is protected by routines. Many people waste energy deciding trivial matters or debating every minor choice. This drain leaves less for critical thinking, problem solving, and creative work. Routines automate positive behaviors, reducing decision fatigue. By handling predictable tasks automatically, your mind is free to tackle challenges that matter most. Emotional stability improves because you no longer rely on willpower alone to maintain consistency. Your energy is preserved for growth, contribution, and action that matters. Routines enhance focus. When daily behavior is guided automatically, attention can shift to higher-level objectives. Focused energy produces results, and results reinforce confidence. Life becomes less scattered because essential behaviors are anchored in a predictable structure. Over time, routines align your daily actions with long-term goals. You work smarter, not harder, and achieve more because energy is directed strategically rather than dissipated on repeated minor decisions. Routines reduce stress. Chaos and indecision are major sources of anxiety. When you know what to do, when to do it, and how to execute, stress diminishes. A simple morning routine, a structured work block, or a nightly reflection process creates predictability and comfort. Routines provide stability in an unpredictable world. They give the brain a clear framework, reducing uncertainty, pressure, and worry. The more consistent your routines, the calmer and more focused your mind becomes.
Simplicity encourages sustainability. Complicated routines are difficult to maintain and easy to abandon. Simple routines are easier to repeat daily, even when life is busy. They create a foundation of consistent action without overwhelming effort. This simplicity ensures that routines endure over weeks, months, and years. Long-term adherence builds habits, habits shape behavior, and behavior defines results. The power of simplicity lies in its ability to make consistency effortless, transforming small actions into lasting impact. Routines can target multiple areas of life simultaneously. For example, a morning routine that includes movement, journaling, goal review, and planning addresses health, clarity, and productivity. Nighttime routines can enhance reflection, gratitude, and learning. Structured routines ensure that essential actions are performed daily, even when motivation dips. This repetition compounds, producing growth in multiple dimensions without relying on sporadic effort. A simple sequence repeated consistently is more powerful than occasional bursts of intensive work. Reflection improves routine effectiveness. Even simple routines should be evaluated periodically. Are they producing results? Are they sustainable? Are they aligned with evolving goals? Small adjustments enhance efficiency and impact. Reflection ensures that routines remain relevant, effective, and aligned with your current priorities. Without reflection, routines become mechanical and lose purpose. Conscious evaluation strengthens habits, ensures continued growth, and prevents stagnation. Routines influence identity. What you repeatedly do shapes who you are. By consistently performing constructive actions, you reinforce the identity of a disciplined, organized, and purposeful individual. Small routines accumulate over time, forming the foundation for long-term growth. Your character is defined not by intentions, but by repeated behavior. Simple routines act as invisible guides, ensuring that daily actions reflect the person you want to become.
Chapter 9. Build connections that inspire action instead of draining energy. The people you spend your time with have a profound influence on your life. Every conversation, every interaction, and every relationship leaves a trace on your mindset, energy, and behavior. Some people lift you up, challenge you, and encourage growth. Others drain your energy, focus on complaints, and reinforce limiting beliefs. The difference between success and stagnation is often determined not by your skills or intelligence, but by the people you surround yourself with. Building connections that inspire action requires awareness, intention, and courage. It requires evaluating your current relationships, identifying which ones propel you forward, and cultivating bonds that encourage you to become better every day. Most people underestimate the influence of their social circle. They spend hours with individuals who complain, gossip, or focus on limitations, thinking it does not affect them. But energy is contagious. The attitudes, behaviors, and outlooks of those around you shape your own patterns. If you are constantly exposed to negativity, self-doubt, or excuses, those tendencies quietly seep into your mindset. Conversely, spending time with people who take responsibility, act decisively, and pursue growth instills similar habits. Your environment becomes a reflection of your relationships, and your progress is directly linked to the quality of the people you allow into your life. Building inspiring connections begins with self-awareness. You must understand your goals, values, and priorities. When you know what you want to achieve, you can recognize which individuals support that vision. Relationships are not random, they are choices. Every person you invest time in either advances your growth or hinders it. Awareness allows you to make intentional decisions about who deserves your energy. It requires courage to step back from draining relationships and to seek out those that energize, challenge, and inspire action. Energy management is critical. Time is finite, and so is emotional and mental energy. Certain relationships consume disproportionately large amounts of energy without contributing positively to your growth. These interactions leave you exhausted, distracted, and demotivated. Recognizing these patterns allows you to redirect your energy toward people who inspire, motivate, and challenge you constructively. Protecting your energy is not selfish, it is strategic. Energy spent with the right people compounds, while energy spent on negative influences dissipates without return. Intentionality is essential when cultivating connections. Random interactions, casual acquaintances, and habitual associations rarely produce meaningful results. You must actively seek out relationships that encourage action, learning, and accountability. Attend events, engage in communities, or participate in groups aligned with your goals. Initiate conversations with individuals who exemplify the qualities you aspire to develop. Intentional connection is not about quantity, it is about quality. A few meaningful relationships that inspire progress are far more valuable than hundreds of superficial interactions that drain energy. Observe patterns in interaction. Some people inspire by example. They demonstrate focus, resilience, and discipline without preaching. Others motivate through dialogue, offering insights, encouragement, and constructive challenges. Pay attention to how individuals affect your mood, motivation, and clarity. Ask yourself after conversations, do I feel energized, empowered, and capable, or tired, doubtful, and drained? This self-reflection is critical because it allows you to discern which connections are beneficial and which are harmful. Your network shapes your actions, so choose wisely. Accountability strengthens inspiring relationships. People who propel action do not simply offer advice, they hold you accountable, they check in, provide feedback, and celebrate progress while addressing areas needing improvement. Accountability transforms inspiration into tangible results. Connections without accountability may feel supportive emotionally, but they often lack impact. Build relationships where honesty, challenge, and encouragement coexist. Surround yourself with individuals who push you to act, think critically, and execute consistently. Action-oriented relationships convert motivation into achievement. Reciprocity is key. Inspiring connections are not one-sided. While you benefit from others' guidance, encouragement, and perspective, you also contribute to their growth. Relationships thrive when both parties exchange value, insight, and support. By helping others succeed, you reinforce your own learning skills and mindset. Connection is active, not passive. Giving attention, encouragement, and constructive feedback strengthens bonds and ensures mutual growth. The energy you invest in inspiring others returns multiplied through collaboration, trust, and shared action. Clarity in communication is essential. People who inspire action are clear about their expectations, feedback, and goals. They do not confuse, complain, or drain energy with ambiguity. Likewise, you must communicate clearly, expressing your objectives, priorities, and boundaries. Transparency fosters trust, reduces misunderstandings, and maximizes productive energy. When relationships operate with clarity, energy is focused on execution and results, rather than on managing confusion or emotional friction. Clear communication reinforces intentional connection and drives mutual progress. Boundaries protect energy and focus. Some relationships, while familiar or convenient, may sap your energy, distract from priorities, or encourage stagnation. Setting boundaries is essential to maintain progress. This may involve limiting time with certain individuals, redirecting conversations away from negativity, or politely declining activities that do not align with growth. Boundaries are not rejection, they are acts of self-respect and strategic energy management. Protecting your focus allows you to invest in relationships that generate inspiration, insight, and action. Shared values amplify connection. Relationships flourish when core beliefs and priorities align. While diversity of thought is valuable, connections rooted in shared commitment to growth, responsibility, and action are particularly powerful. Shared values create natural alignment, reduce conflict, and foster collaboration. They provide a foundation for trust, respect, and accountability. When values are aligned, interactions become energizing, support becomes effective, and influence becomes meaningful. Seek individuals whose principles resonate with your vision for growth and action. Intentional exposure matters. Surround yourself with environments where inspiring individuals gather. Communities, events, workshops, and online groups, centered on growth, action, and learning, increase the likelihood of encountering people who elevate your thinking and behavior. Proximity amplifies influence. Energy and behavior are contagious. Consistent exposure to motivated, focused, and proactive individuals reinforces similar patterns in your life. Environment shapes behavior, so intentionally place yourself where energy is constructive, rather than depleting. Listening is a tool for inspiration. Pay attention to the experiences, strategies, and insights of individuals who consistently act and achieve results. Listening actively allows you to learn without resistance, adopt effective practices, and gain perspective. It also strengthens relationships, showing respect and interest. Inspiration flows both ways. As you absorb lessons, share feedback, and collaborate, the connection deepens, energy is exchanged positively, and actionable growth becomes more achievable. Reflection enhances relationship impact. After interactions, assess how the connection influenced your motivation, clarity, and energy. Identify lessons learned, actions to implement, and adjustments to approach. Reflection ensures that engagement is not passive, but strategic, converting conversations into tangible improvement. Patterns emerge over time, highlighting which relationships consistently inspire action and which create subtle drain. Insight gained through reflection allows you to curate connections that optimize growth. Mentorship is powerful. Building relationships with experienced, action-oriented individuals accelerates learning, skill development, and decision-making. Mentors provide guidance, accountability, and perspective that cannot be replicated through trial and error alone. Seek mentors whose values, habits, and achievements align with your vision. These relationships act as catalysts, inspiring consistent action, reinforcing discipline, and expanding possibilities. Guidance from someone who has walked the path saves time, energy, and mistakes. Collaboration amplifies results. Working with motivated, focused individuals produces outcomes that surpass individual effort. Shared energy, skills, and accountability magnify action. Connections that inspire collaboration create momentum, build competence, and reinforce progress. Collaboration teaches adaptability, problem-solving, and commitment, while ensuring that inspiration is transformed into tangible achievement. Being part of a network that actively creates results reinforces your own dedication and energy. Positive reinforcement strengthens action. Interactions with inspiring people validate progress, highlight achievements, and encourage persistence. Recognition is motivating, and encouragement fuels consistency. Constructive reinforcement guides behavior and builds confidence, making repeated action more likely. Relationships that inspire are those that celebrate growth, provide honest feedback, and maintain high expectations. Energy invested in encouragement compounds, generating sustained action and momentum toward goals. Conflict handled constructively is growth-inducing. Differences in opinion, when managed respectively, teach perspective, resilience,
and adaptability. Relationships that inspire action navigate conflict without draining energy. They focus on solutions, learning, and collaboration rather than complaints, blame, or negative emotion. Exposure to constructive conflict fosters maturity, problem-solving, and decision-making skills while maintaining connection and momentum. Intentional networking creates opportunity. Engaging with people who act, produce, and achieve opens doors, provides insights, and creates pathways for growth. Relationships with action-oriented individuals expose you to ideas, strategies, and possibilities that would remain inaccessible otherwise. Opportunity multiplies when you connect with those who move deliberately toward results. Energy and effort invested in these connections return exponentially through collaboration, mentorship, and shared action. Finally, nurturing relationships requires consistent effort. Connections that inspire action must be maintained, reinforced, and valued. Genuine interest, support, and reciprocity ensure that bonds remain strong, energizing, and productive. Relationships are living entities. They require attention, care, and intentionality. Investing in inspiring connections ensures that your social network continues to elevate you, reinforce positive habits, and propel consistent action over time.
Chapter 10. Reflect honestly each night to adjust and stay on course. Every day presents countless choices, actions, and interactions, yet few people pause to evaluate the results of those decisions. Most move from one day to the next, without examining what worked, what didn't, or what could be improved. The habit of reflection is rare, but it is one of the most powerful tools for growth. Reflecting honestly each night allows you to see your life clearly, to learn from mistakes, and to make adjustments before small missteps become long-term patterns. Without reflection, life is a series of reactions rather than deliberate, purposeful action. By pausing at the end of the day to assess, you take control, sharpen focus, and ensure progress toward your goals. Reflection requires honesty. It is easy to gloss over failures, rationalize mistakes, or exaggerate accomplishments, but honest evaluation is critical. It allows you to identify gaps between intention and action, to recognize where effort fell short, and to acknowledge what is working. This honesty is not meant to discourage, it is meant to illuminate. By facing reality clearly, you equip yourself with the knowledge needed to adjust and improve. Avoiding truth leaves you blind to patterns that could be corrected, and those same mistakes will repeat. Truth is the foundation of growth. To reflect effectively, focus on actions rather than intentions. It is not enough to think, plan, or desire change. Results are created through action. Ask yourself, what did I do today that moved me closer to my goals? Where did I waste energy or allow distractions to take control? Did I follow through on commitments? Were my decisions aligned with my values and priorities? This kind of evaluation turns abstract ambition into concrete insight. By tracking actions, you see patterns that would otherwise go unnoticed, and you gain the ability to correct course immediately. Emotional awareness enhances reflection. Your feelings provide valuable information about what is working and what is not. Anxiety, frustration, fatigue, or excitement are signals that can guide your adjustments. Did certain interactions drain your energy unnecessarily? Did certain decisions make you feel empowered or aligned? Paying attention to emotional cues allows you to make choices that support clarity, focus, and sustainable progress. Emotional insight turns reflection into a practical tool for optimizing behavior rather than a passive exercise in criticism. Journaling is one of the most effective ways to practice nightly reflection. Writing forces clarity of thought and makes patterns visible. Document what you accomplished, what you struggled with, and what lessons emerged. Record observations about your energy, focus, relationships, and decision-making. Reviewing written reflections over time creates a record of growth and highlights trends that might otherwise be forgotten. Journaling is not about perfection, it is about awareness, insight, and learning. The act of writing solidifies understanding and prepares you for deliberate adjustment, identifies successes as well as failures. Reflection is not solely about finding mistakes, it is also about recognizing progress. Celebrate wins, however small, and analyze what contributed to those achievements. Understanding what works reinforces positive behavior, increases motivation, and provides a blueprint for repeated success. Reflection that ignores accomplishments is incomplete. By acknowledging victories, you reinforce patterns that are effective, strengthening habits, and building confidence. Success analysis is as important as failure analysis in creating a balanced and actionable understanding of your day. Reflection guides adjustment. Once you identify what worked and what didn't, the next step is nullified change. Adjust your habits, routines, and focus areas based on the insights gained. Small intentional adjustments compound over time into significant results. Perhaps you notice that certain tasks are consistently delayed. Adjust scheduling or approach. Maybe certain interactions leave you depleted. Reconsider boundaries or engagement. Every insight from reflection becomes an opportunity for refinement. Action without reflection is blind, while reflection without action is wasted. Together, they form a cycle of continuous improvement. Focus on patterns, not isolated events. One mistake or one off day does not define progress. True insight comes from observing repeated behaviors, responses, and outcomes. Patterns reveal the underlying structure of your actions and the habits that drive results. By identifying recurring trends, you gain the ability to break negative cycles, strengthen productive routines, and make informed decisions. Nightly reflection ensures that these patterns are noticed early, preventing small inefficiencies from growing into entrenched problems. Reflection strengthens accountability. When you take time each night to assess your behavior, you hold yourself responsible for your own progress. No one else can make these evaluations for you. Accountability increases ownership over results, reduces dependency on external validation, and ensures that excuses lose power. Over time, this self-discipline cultivates resilience, focus, and a proactive mindset. Nightly reflection is an act of self-leadership. It signals commitment to growth, clarity, and integrity in action. Questions guide reflection. Ask yourself meaningful, action-oriented questions each night. What did I accomplish today that brought me closer to my goal? Where did I waste time or energy? How did my actions impact others? What obstacles could have been handled differently? What will I do tomorrow to improve? Structured questions provide a roadmap for reflection, ensuring that insights are practical, specific, and actionable rather than vague or unproductive. Good questions focus the mind and prepare it for deliberate adjustment. Reflection enhances foresight. By examining your decisions and outcomes, you begin to anticipate challenges before they arise. You recognize patterns that may repeat, opportunities that might be missed, and adjustments that can prevent setback. Each night of reflection builds a mental map of cause and effect, allowing you to navigate life more strategically. This foresight transforms reflection from passive review into a proactive tool that increases control over your future. Reflection improves decision-making. Daily evaluation of choices teaches you which approaches lead to success and which lead to stagnation. By reviewing outcomes, you refine judgment, strengthen insight, and reduce errors in future action. Over time, repeated reflection accelerates learning, sharpens instincts, and creates confidence in decisions. Nightly reflection is a form of daily training that develops mental clarity, strategic thinking, and the ability to act with intention. Reflection also builds emotional intelligence. By reviewing your interactions and responses each night, you gain insight into how your behavior affects others and how their behavior affects you. This awareness strengthens relationships, communication, and leadership ability. Understanding emotional impact allows adjustment in approach,
fostering collaboration and reducing unnecessary conflict. Emotional intelligence, developed through reflection, ensures that actions are not only effective, but also harmonious and sustainable. Reflection reinforces values and priority. In the rush of daily life, it is easy to act reactively rather than intentionally. Pausing to review your day ensures that actions align with long-term goals and personal principles. Did your day reflect your priorities? Were you disciplined with your time and energy? Did your decisions support your vision? Honest reflection keeps life purposeful, ensuring that daily action consistently supports meaningful objectives. Reflection prevents accumulation of mistakes. Small errors, left unchecked, grow into significant issues over time. Nightly evaluation allows early intervention, correction, and adjustment. By addressing inefficiencies or missteps immediately, you prevent them from becoming entrenched habits or larger setbacks. Reflection acts as a safeguard, preserving momentum, protecting energy, and ensuring consistent alignment with objectives. Reflection fosters gratitude and perspective. Reviewing your day allows recognition of opportunities, achievements, and positive experiences that might otherwise be overlooked. Gratitude shifts focus from obstacles to progress, reinforces motivation, and enhances overall well-being. Perspective gained through nightly evaluation provides balance, reduces frustration, and strengthens resilience in the face of challenges. Awareness of both successes and areas for improvement creates a holistic understanding of progress. Reflection promotes consistency. Growth is not the result of isolated effort, it comes from repeated, deliberate action. Nightly evaluation ensures that each day contributes to cumulative progress. By examining consistency, you identify lapses, celebrate streaks, and maintain focus on long-term objectives. Reflection turns daily experience into a continuous cycle of improvement, strengthening habits, reinforcing discipline, and accelerating momentum toward meaningful goals. Reflection encourages learning. Each day presents lessons, whether in success or failure. Nightly review captures those lessons, extracting practical insights from experience. Over time, this practice builds wisdom, improves judgment, and refines strategy. The mind trained to reflect daily becomes analytical, adaptive, and growth-oriented. Learning through reflection ensures that knowledge is applied rather than forgotten, increasing efficiency and effectiveness in all areas of life. Reflection strengthens self-awareness. Evaluating actions, emotions, and outcomes each night deepens understanding of personal strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and triggers. This awareness informs behavior, improves decision-making, and enhances personal growth. Self-awareness is foundational for intentional living. Without it, actions are guided by habit, impulse, or external influence. Nightly reflection cultivates the insight necessary to live with purpose, focus, and integrity. Reflection is a daily investment in your future self. Every minute spent reviewing the day, analyzing decisions, and planning adjustments compounds over time. The person who reflects nightly develops habits, clarity, and foresight that the unreflective person cannot match. Small insights accumulate, creating compounded improvement that transforms personal, professional, and relational outcomes. Nightly reflection is a practice that pays exponential dividends, ensuring life progresses in alignment with goals and values.